Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Fan Behavior and F1 podcast. I'm Zoe. I'm here with Hannah.
Hi.
We haven't seen each other for a while,
Yeah, I know.
but
I've been away,
they won't know that.
but now you do.
Now you do. Now we're back, better than ever.
Always.
So much to discuss, so much to get into. There's been so much news.
Like, there's so much going on with like the most random teams.
And it's also just, I didn't expect there to be this much stuff happening in the off season.
Yeah, I didn't know silly season happened in the winter.
Right. Or just chaos.
So much.
Honestly. Yeah. So we're going to get into all of the stuff because obviously last week's episode, it was a predictions episode. We didn't get into all of the news. And
There
I can't
wasn't
remember.
much. Oh, well, at the time of recording, there really wasn't much to discuss.
Yeah. Now there's so much to discuss.
Yeah.
Before we get into it though, I have to share my dream I had last night.
Oh, good. I love these.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like most people actually hate hearing other people's dreams.
Oh, I like hearing your dreams because
but
usually
it has to do with Formula One.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a love triangle of sorts.
Nice.
Well, first of all, it's funny because I woke up to go to the bathroom at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And typically I can fall back asleep, but
Not well.
It's it's like a light sleep. But this one is when I actually had the dream. Was when I fell back asleep. Okay. I'll set the scene. I was at some it was almost like a cotillion ball, like you know those like kind of like coming
Bridgerton
out
vibes.
Yeah, kind of, but like where people are like presented.
Yes. I've been watching a lot of Gilmore Girls, and I actually just watched her coming out party recently.
Okay. But it was weird because in this version, it was like a maze. It was like all of this stuff you had to like walk through and get through to get to where you were like going to be presented. And it was a huge line of people like with a date, like getting ready to like. It was very weird. It was almost like we were in some like factory.
Okay. Were you in a ball gown?
I don't remember what I was wearing.
Okay.
I'm with Josh Allen.
Okay. Unexpected.
Okay, I know.
Okay.
And so we're getting ready to we're like walking through this stuff. We're like going. I don't really remember what he was saying to me. Guess who comes up out of nowhere?
I imagine Daniel.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's the only driver that makes sense in this context.
Right. And I think in this, okay, do you ever have things in dreams where like you can see things like a top level view?
Yeah.
Like it's like almost like you
or
have like
a
the
bird
narrator, like you understand like what's happening in this storyline. And in this storyline, which makes sense, I liked Daniel.
Sure.
But Josh liked me.
Awesome.
And Daniel was like, guys, I don't have a date to be presented with.
Oh.
And he's like, but I'm supposed to be like so far, like my spot is like way far in front. And so then I was like, well, how about I just go with you
and then circle back? Seems like the perfect solution to me. Was Josh mad?
So I go. I don't really remember the actual present. Oh, I was like, I do remember. I asked him. I was like, why are you here? Or like on your own? Like, why are you here by yourself? And he was like, oh, I just like I can't get into that. And so then
It's too personal.
Yeah. And then I don't remember actually being presented. And then I did circle back around and I was like, and I was like trying to like get through people because it was like a big line. So I was like, excuse me. And
Gotta get to my date.
I get to Josh and he was kind of like, hey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not good. He was not happy. That was just breaking hearts and ruining friendships.
I woke up and I was just like, that was a really weird dream.
Well, it's also interesting timing because at time of recording, the Kansas City Chiefs play the Buffalo Bills this evening. And it just, I would like someone to analyze what this means. Like, were you leaving Josh for Daniel or for the Chiefs? Like you like him, but you can't support him in the way that he wants you to support him.
Yeah, I don't know that it had anything to do with the Chiefs.
Probably
I think it
not.
was more just like they've been in my brain.
Yeah.
So therefore they were in my dream.
How funny.
Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah. And yeah, obviously at the time of recording, we don't know what's going to happen in the Chiefs versus Bill games, but I do feel like if the Bills win, I feel like this will mean good things for Danny Ric this year.
Okay.
Like, I feel like if the things that he's a fan of do well, then that means like the vibes are high for him.
And I love that, but I don't want the Bills to win.
I don't want the Bills to win.
Okay.
Of course not. No,
Okay.
but I'm just saying.
And if the Bills do lose, I don't want that to become a bad omen for Daniel. So I don't know what to do with all that.
True.
Is your hair darker?
It is darker, yes.
That's good.
Thank you. Anyway, I thought I'd just share that funny story.
That is funny.
Yeah, maybe I was gonna say I could share that with him if we ever, but I will never be sharing that dream.
Well, maybe he'll listen.
I can say you've been in my dreams before. He'll be like,
nice. You've never been in mine. But maybe after that you will, because you can't dream about someone you've never seen before. Did you know
True. Yes.
Doesn't that make you think what a tangent? But when you have people in your dreams that you're like, I've never seen that person before, you actually have.
But I can't think of like someone that I've seen in a dream that I don't know who they are. Like they don't stick with me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's just a little dream tangent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the news. The first thing that I think we should talk about, which is like the oldest piece of news, but we didn't really discuss it, was the Sauber name change to Stake F1.
Yes.
How do we feel?
I mean, minorly indifferent. I find it interesting that they gave it a name that you can't use in some of the countries.
I was literally going to say,
feels like a really difficult. Like, why would you do that?
What are they going to go by? Are they just going to go by Sauber in those countries? Will they be able to have their name on their car?
I doubt it.
I don't know what the laws are. Like, I don't know what is. I don't know like how they have to abide by said laws.
Because I'm assuming it's like an advertising thing. Like the certain like that.
True.
Brand can't be advertised in those countries.
True.
So I would assume you have to. So maybe they'll do like special liveries for that, and they'll have a different
like
brand.
Substitute or something.
And I would imagine that had to be part of the agreement. But
it's also interesting to me. I've been seeing a lot of pushback from people. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's been people who've been like, "Is it really the best idea for an F1 team to be endorsing like gambling when like so many people have like gambling addictions and like it's not in the same ways that I feel like for so long like cigarette companies would be on cars, and it's like, well, we know that that's like unhealthy and causes cancer, blah 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 blah, and obviously you can't be like, well, gambling causes like cancer, but
it's the same with alcohol. I mean, Heineken's one of, like there's, I feel like at a certain point.
But I guess Heineken's not a title sponsor.
They are of F1 though, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but like of a team. It's not like Heineken, McLaren,
yeah, that
whatever.
Makes sense.
I mean, we certainly know there's a lot of questionable sponsors in Formula One.
Sure,
don't we know it?
They've all got deep pockets.
I mean, cash is king, as we know.
Nice foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. And Drake being the guy to...
That was funny.
That was clever.
Yeah. I will say the social media has taken their account has taken an interesting change.
Yeah. I don't mind the green, like the bright green.
I think that's fine. I think the livery will be cool.
I think it will be cool. It could get a little like... almost like teen boy.
Yeah, it's giving Monster
or like Axe body spray type stuff, like kind of that vibe.
Yeah,
but I shouldn't say optimistic. I'm open to whatever they give. Like,
and I'm more curious than like I'm not really opposed to it. It is what it is. It doesn't really I don't really think about it much, other than I'm really curious to see how they handle. Because how many countries will they have to change their name?
I'm assuming Middle East.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if that's true or not. I think it is.
I
People
really
have to correct me if I'm wrong.
I have absolutely no idea.
China.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Next piece of news. Speaking of Daniel, was Lando flying down to spend some quality R&R with his good pal Danny Ric.
Yeah.
That was quite something.
It was
100% no. Well, I don't. Okay. No, I don't. But I can tell that Daniel's on some sort of social media hiatus.
Yeah.
Like he is like doing some sort of challenge, like January 31st or February 1st.
January,
he's going to be posting like all of his photos from the last like handful of months.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, where's your content? Like, I know you have excellent photos.
So much.
Give them to us.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. But Lando gave content. But the like best piece of content was these fans that got to meet Lando and Daniel.
Can you imagine?
No. And I was thinking about
even
that.
one of them. I just can't imagine.
And you know what's so funny is a girl that we follow on TikTok, and she's great. People will know her. She's an Australian creator named Anna. She posted, she's like, this is reminding me, this interaction of like these girls meeting Daniel and Lando out wherever they were. It's giving One Direction. It's giving 5 Seconds of Summer.
For sure.
Seeing two of them out in the wild.
Yes.
And
I was lucky enough to experience such a thing. And it's so confusing. It makes no sense that like things worked out so perfectly or imperfectly that you're all at the same place at the same time, and that it's not just one of them, it's multiple of them. Like, what are the odds?
Yes.
Especially because we're not in season right now.
Totally.
So like them being together so
it doesn't
random.
make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream come true.
I know. It just makes me happy to see them hanging out.
I mean, and then what a moment for those girls.
100%.
So happy for them.
I know. Gosh, that would be.
And I want to know what they got up to, you know?
Well, it looked like they were definitely doing some fun things on the farm.
Sure.
Riding like bikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was probably a lot of their.
It does a lot of good for my soul to see them hanging out on their own.
Yes.
Completely unrelated.
No forced interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said
Especially
too.
in Australia. It's not easy to get there.
No. I mean, Lando was in Bali with Martin Garrix. He's basically traveling the world with Martin Garrix. And Martin Garrix was in Australia with them.
And that's all fine. But like he made a commitment to say like, I'm going to be in Australia, but I don't have time. Like, I'm going to be in Australia. Let's make plans. Come to the farm.
Yes. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Once in a lifetime.
And we love to see friends spending time together. It's always great.
And see friendships confirmed because you know that it's real, but then they hang out in their off time and you're like,
yeah. Then that's how you know. And I don't think anyone else any other F1 driver has gone to Australia to see. Like, I don't think anyone else has made that trek.
The journey, yeah. Well, shout out to Lando.
Shout out to Lando. I wonder now if Daniel was asked, who's your favorite ex-teammate?
Yeah.
I think for a long time it would have been 100% Max. And I think it probably still is Max.
Yeah.
But
he might be, it's different than who's the ex-teammate you're closest with.
True. They're
different questions.
Speaking of Lando, he's been on his world tour adventures. He's been literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Bali, Australia,
he's
in Finland. I posted a TikTok being like, how does this man have the energy? And a lot of people were like, well, he travels private or in first class.
Which is true.
Which is true, but that's even still, if he travels, like 9 months out of the year, probably more than that, I would not want to be traveling, even if I could travel at the top level when I didn't have to be traveling.
Yeah.
Or I go like one place for like how Daniel's back in Australia for like, a couple months at a time.
Yeah.
Not ping-ponging around the world.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like really around the world. It's not like he's backpacking through Europe. He's just like crossing continents.
He wouldn't last 2 days backpacking.
No.
He would be like, I'm done. I'm over this.
Yeah.
You know? There's just no way he can do that.
No chance.
I
mean, I don't think I could really do it well either, but.
Well, you would have much more, I think, resilience than Lando.
Sure.
I don't think Lando.
Well, Lando's come from a land of and a upbringing.
Silver spoon.
Yeah, I mean, camping would have included an RV of sorts.
Yes, for sure.
Good for you.
Not to say, and maybe he's changed. Maybe now he's a man of the woods.
Justin Timberlake. Terrible album. Great tour though. Great tour.
That was a
weird
confounding time.
Super bizarre. That was like that one Katy Perry album that just came out of nowhere and you're just like
basically canceled her career.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on? Speaking of Katy Perry, if anyone hasn't seen Gran Turismo, it is fantastic. My whole family cried. It's so good. I really wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but it's fantastic.
Did you recognize the main actor?
I did, yeah, and I was like, man, he really looks like that guy from Saltburn, but they're so different that when I finally looked it up, I was like, well, of course it's the same one, but and he's so tall. When I saw how much taller he was than David Harbour, I was like, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of Katy Perry, because of Orlando Bloom.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Katy Perry is married to Orlando Bloom, who is in Gran Turismo.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Katy, I feel bad about her career because Teenage Dream was truly like one of the greatest pop albums of all time, and then she's just never been able to.
Well, it was such a not great time in her life.
Yeah.
If you've seen the documentary.
Exactly.
If you know.
You know. Okay, speaking of other people's adventures around the world or just people hanging out off season, real true friendship.
Yes.
Pierre and Yuki up to their old antics in Dubai.
So happy.
That's where they go to train, I guess, in the off season. And again, it's just like
it's just you love to see
you love to see old teammates getting back together.
Yeah, the true friendship that lies.
True friendship. Yeah. And I was trying to think about that. How many, or I guess who do we think has true friendship? on the F1 grid. I mean, obviously Charles and Pierre.
Yeah.
I think we can say Pierre and Yuki for sure. I think we can say Lando and Daniel. And I think we can say Daniel and Max.
For sure.
Carlos and Lando.
Yeah. Carlos and Charles to a degree, but I don't know that they're seeking each other.
I don't think they're hanging out.
No.
Yeah.
But I don't really...
Is George... I mean, we'll get to who George has been hanging out with, but...
Yes. But George is like... He's the one who creates the plans too, and so it's dependent on everyone being in the same place, which clearly right now everyone's just everywhere. Yeah. But like I feel like Alex and George and like what the group that went paddle tennising or whatever, pickleballing, whatever it is that they were doing. They seem similar, but I know they're different. Yeah. Yeah, but it does make me curious. Like Lewis.
But see, Lewis I give a pass to in a sense because he has nobody really around. Like he and Fernando, for example, are so far removed from the like crowd that I feel like, I mean, we obviously know Lewis did have a dear friend in Formula One. Yeah. And we know how that went down.
Equal machinery.
I will say, did I talk about it on...
Maybe he's just decided it's not safe.
I can't remember if I talked about it on the episode that aired on Monday about Nico Rosberg. Or was that a different episode?
I don't remember.
Okay, well then I won't even say it in case it wasn't, because I don't remember it. Never mind. Okay, moving on.
You'll hear it soon enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think Lewis is or like Fernando. I mean, I guess Fernando and George, they did. Yeah. But I think that's more of we happen to be in the same place.
Yeah, we got to do it for the gram kind of.
Not so much like let's get together and hang out. Yeah. You know, and there is a difference in that.
There is.
Because somebody said recently like, oh yeah, I just like happened to be at the same place as another driver, and we like, it wasn't planned, but and this was like a while ago, but they just happened to be like in the same vacation spot or something as a different, it could have been like the Maldives or something. Oh. And they like hung out, but it wasn't like they had planned, hey, let's go on this trip together.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's different.
It's so different. Like being in Monaco, yeah, of course, you guys all live in Monaco.
Sure, so, but it's like, I'll see you in a couple months, you know?
Right, exactly. So anyway, love seeing Yuki and Pierre together. Hope they're having a great time. Yuki just posted some photos of him hitting the gym hard.
I hope he has a new trainer and that they're getting... Well, I know he has a new one, but I hope that they have a nice relationship.
I know. He's really been kind of like pawned off these last few years. Yeah. And, I'm curious to see how that works out for him. Okay. The big piece of news, I think, kind of the biggest piece of news, RIP to the main man himself. Yeah. Gunther Steiner. Yeah. I mean...
Did I manifest this?
Devastating loss for all Drive to Survive fans out there. Yeah. Really, really tough. What were your thoughts when the news dropped?
I mean, it was the mix of emotions of like not surprised, because this is what happens when
you don't perform.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it with drivers. We've seen it with principals, yada, yada. Yeah. But it's a big loss to the DTS community.
Huge.
It just is. And I'm curious because I don't think he's going to go somewhere else. And I'm just curious what his path is now. Like, he's an entertainer, you know, like he's talent at this point. So does he become an on-air personality? Does he get a podcast? Does he start a Twitch? Like, I'm not really sure what his course is, but I know we won't be without him for too long.
I completely agree. I said this, that him and Otmar should start a podcast.
That'd be amazing.
That would be iconic because let them loose without any restrictions, and they don't have to, not that they ever were like, you know, especially Gunther wasn't ever holding back his thoughts, but now they don't have to play the game and they can just share whatever they think. I would be curious to hear what they have to say. I mean, Sky Sports has probably called them up to have him talk. I just think, I mean, thank God for Drive to Survive fans and Drive to Survive producers that Daniel did come back. Yeah. Because can you imagine if they had lost both?
Not really.
I mean, who would they focus on? I mean, there's other stars and personalities, but there's no one that's bringing the humor the way that they do.
It's so true.
And I mean, I mean, not that I feel like most people listening to this know this piece of news, but Gene was apparently embarrassed about their lack of performance over the last handful of years, which makes sense.
Sure.
But the rumor mill has been that Gunther wanted more investment into the team, like financial investment. I think he wanted to like have a bigger stake in the team,
which makes sense.
Yeah. And Gene felt like that wasn't necessary.
Okay.
So
Gunther personally wanted to invest more, or he wanted Gene to find more investment?
He wanted Gene to find more investment.
Right. That makes sense, because the sport we're in, the more money, the better. But
and I think Gene's point was, we have enough money, or we have enough money to not be finishing last place.
Sure.
Okay. I'm curious to see who ends up right on that point. Mm-hmm. You know, do I feel like Gene... how do I say this? Like, I don't watch Drive to Survive, and really that's the only way I've seen Gene.
Yeah.
I don't watch it and think, that guy's, you know, a genius.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm...
Like, he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if he's done this, it's the right call.
Yes.
There's a big question mark.
Yes.
And I know he's successful, obviously, in other series. Like, he's done this for a long time.
Yes.
But yeah, you just kind of wonder, like, okay, well, and at this point, you know, since we've started watching Drive to Survive and become fans, like, there's been changes in the drivers, you know, whatever. There hasn't been a lot of big leadership changes like this, and so maybe it is the right call. I don't know. Totally. I mean, at some point he's still the common denominator, Gunther. Totally. And I don't know, there's nothing.
It's one of those things, chicken or the egg, right? Yeah. What is the actual problem? Like, we see all the time in other sports where it's like, oh, you think it's the head coach, and then they fire the head coach, and the next coach comes in, and then it's like
still the same problem.
Yeah, like the rot is so deep within the organization. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying Haas is like rotten, but it could be.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I do think it's like, finally, like, this step hasn't been taken in a while.
It needed to happen, I suppose.
Probably.
Yeah. So Io Komatsu is now the new principal, and he was an engineer with Haas for a long time. So I think it was probably smart for them. Well, actually, I don't know. I was going to say it's smart to hire within the family, but maybe that's the problem. Like, maybe they need fresh blood in the way that James Vowles comes into Williams, though I know it's like the Merck family as a whole, but like inject some other new spirit. Mm-hmm. I'll be curious to see how he does. I don't know. Haas is very now that Gunther's gone, I'm like, I don't know.
I know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
I hope Drive to Survive does give him a little send-off montage, like they did with Daniel last year, because
I am a little disappointed that in some ways that this didn't happen sooner, because I don't think it'll be part of the season, you know?
Yeah, I could see them like tacking on like a little sit down interview type of thing, because we still don't know officially when Drive to Survive is coming, or they haven't made the official announcement, though I think we can all...
I thought it was coming out on the 23rd.
That's what people think, but like it's not, it hasn't been like officially.
Oh, I thought that was
shared.
Officially.
No. But people always, because it's typically always out the weekend before the first race. So we can all assume. Anyway, thanks for all the good times.
Yeah, and looking forward to more to come in a different capacity. Because honestly, for those who find him to be entertaining and like just want the Drive to Survive version of Gunther, like, him not being the team principal is actually a positive.
That's true.
Because we'll get more of him potentially.
What has been your favorite? Like, what's your favorite line moment of the Gunther experience?
I mean, I think the Fox smashing of the door is just like always going to be really iconic. And then
that is really
I mean, it's everything he's done is really iconic, but I think that's the biggest one.
I think Fox Smash is obviously huge, but I think we can't ignore what kind of started it all. Episode 1, season 1, the
bunch of anchors.
Yeah. We could have been rock stars. And then also my personal favorite, that's a bit more, well, I don't know if it's low key, but when he said he would fuck the paddock for 2 points.
Yeah.
Or hug.
He said fuck. And poor Chris Medland was like, sorry for all the listeners at home. And he's like, for what? I said hug. Acting genius. He should definitely get an award for that.
Yeah, get him into movies.
Oh, God.
Get him into movies with Travis Kelce. Okay, actually...
Interesting.
Well, because you know they're going to make like a workplace comedy, like Gunther comedy. I was saying this...
Do you think they're still doing that?
I think so.
Did that come pre or post?
That's pre.
Yeah, well, at least
but I was saying... Are you do you know or have you seen clips of the Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel?
Obsessed with him.
Yeah. Okay. So he's fantastic, and my whole family, we love him.
He's the best.
He's the best. He's so funny, and like we feel the same way about him. Like he should be. There should be some like football workplace, kind of like a Ted Lasso like extended universe where it's like quirky coach in a environment.
Yeah.
I think Mike deserves one. Sure. I think obviously Gunther deserves one. Like the Michael Scott of sports. And they all kind of fall under that same umbrella for me. Mike, what a ledge.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's great. Okay, next piece of news with a principal, Toto Wolff, thank God, extended for 3 more years.
And no one was surprised.
As well as their technical director, James Allison. So they're committing to the, they're holding, what's the phrase?
Sticking around.
They're sticking around. Yeah. They're not making any changes.
Yeah. Which came of no surprise to me.
See, I was a little bit surprised about Toto. Not surprised. I guess I should say I wouldn't have been surprised if Toto had said like, I'm stepping away from being team principal.
Oh.
Because obviously he's still like or like, I don't know what he has like a investment stake in Mercedes and all that stuff. So I wouldn't have been surprised if he had like taken more of like a back seat, because he, we talk about him missing races, a handful of races every season. Like, does he want to be as involved as he has been? It hasn't been the best couple of years for Mercedes. Like, you could see him saying like, maybe this is time for me to step aside, but not the case.
Yeah. I mean, I see him as the one who's not going to leave when they're like maybe on the precipice of getting back to greatness.
Yeah. And he keeps talking about like, I am, sticking around until we can get Lewis's 8th championship. Like he's mentioned that a lot. And I just wonder if George is like,
hello. Yeah.
What about me?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he kind of knows that that's like the changing of the guard, so to speak.
Totally.
And the quicker he can get Lewis his 8th, quicker he can get his championship.
Correct.
So it's like,
what an interesting time it's going to be when Lewis Hamilton retires from Formula One.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I mean,
yeah, but it's weird.
It's going to be like truly.
The paddock is going to have no fashion.
Joe. If he's still around. If they're both gone, I mean, we'll be stuck with khaki pants and polos and skinny jeans and Lando's attempts to like try something.
Vibe it up. Yeah.
Wear one of those robes.
Turn his hat around.
Daniel with his merch.
Yeah.
That's basically all we get. I can't even think about that world because it would be too depressing.
It's far away.
Yeah. I will be happy about it if it is him winning an 8th and then saying, riding off into the sunset. But
I also don't think he'd really go away. Like I could see him taking a year off and then coming back in some capacity as like a consultant or something. Whether it's for a driver or on a team.
I could see him totally being like
I'm out.
And not, I think he'll be around in the sense of like wanting to make like bigger changes within the sport as a whole. But like, I could see him kind of being like, now I'm going into this phase of my life where I could see him starting like I don't know if he already has one. He
like
may.
A charity or something.
Like a production company.
Oh yeah.
Like making.
That's true. He's really hung up on this whole being in a movie thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Him, Travis, Gunther.
I don't think he'd want Gunther in his movie.
I'd love to know what he thinks of him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they necessarily.
I don't know if it's all positive, but.
Anyway, I'm happy Toto's sticking around because, I mean, we're losing principals, they're dropping like flies.
They really are.
And we only have so many left that we enjoy.
Yeah.
That we find, I mean, we lost Otmar, obviously. We lost Cyril a few years ago. We lost Franz Tost. We lost now Gunther. Like,
it's hard.
I mean, we don't have many left again that I don't know. I guess I do. I was thinking like, who else do I really like? I mean, obviously like Christian's an entertaining character.
Yeah.
I do like Fred.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of funny.
He's funny. He's just grumpy.
Yeah, he's grumpy. But like, is that kind of it? I mean,
I like James.
Oh, I like James. And I think the other guys take a back seat.
Well, I forget, and judge me all you want, but like I forget that Zach Brown's not the team principal.
Right.
And that's
Andrea Stella.
Yeah.
Or like Mike Crack.
Right.
Though, God, now I'm thinking like their Sky Sports, when they cut to like on the pit wall, their options are so much. Now
Very
it's basically
limited.
Zach
and
Christian.
Yeah. James.
They do. I guess they do. Because
James is very composed.
He's so composed. I don't want to hear Zach Brown on. I just don't love it. But I'm gonna have to get used to it. Okay, moving on. So another kind of shocking piece of news was the McLaren surprise livery launch. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
I thought it was fine.
What would you rate it out of, or like what school grade would you give it?
A B-.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say like a B+.
Okay.
I like the black.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool, like it's. I haven't loved it when it's been like so orange.
Yeah,
I do like the black parts of it. A little.
It was just fine.
I mean, orange is never gonna be a color that it's already going to be hard to win me over when your car is orange.
To be fair, it's papaya. It's very important that you.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. Like, it's hard. It's hard to match. Like, I've got my papaya pants, but it's a hard color.
It's very, for us pale, well, for me, for being pale and my coloring, I think I'm a winter color.
I'm an autumn.
So I look better in jewel tones.
Yes.
Orange is not a jewel tone.
No,
so,
it isn't.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'll just wear black now.
Yeah, but it's fine. I do wish like it was maybe more black with a hint of orange.
Okay, why do we think they announced it when they did? Like, why do we think they dropped it when they did?
I don't really know. I don't know if it was like just to get ahead of other people. I don't know if maybe one of the sponsors, like there was a specific timeline it had to come out.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of surprised with how it was done.
I am too, because they're not releasing their car. They're not like showing their car until I think Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's interesting that you're going to launch the livery now and then you're going to then wait to show the car off. But then, so it's like, well, it makes the car reveal less, it's like more anticlimactic because you've already shared the livery. I don't know. It's probably the whole like being first, and they wiped their whole Instagram clean.
Yeah.
Very Taylor Swift of them.
Yeah. I mean, that part was kind of fun.
That was fun. But so a bunch of teams have announced their livery or their car livery launch. The first one, at least at this time, being Sauber Stake on the 5th. Williams is also on the 5th. And then you have Alpine on the 7th, Aston Martin on the 12th, Ferrari on the 13th, Mercedes and McLaren.
Ferrari's on the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Taylor Swift better give us some good luck instead of some
14th would be Merc and McLaren, and then the 15th is Red Bull. As of right now, we do not know the Haas date and the whatever the fuck Visa, Cash App, Racing Bulls, whatever, if that's their name. I don't know. We don't know when their car is being announced. So not too far now. No. Only a handful of weeks.
I know.
And I'm excited to see what they come up with.
I mean, we're really close to the start of the season.
Yeah. I mean, we are and we aren't.
Yeah.
It's still like over a month away, which feels like it's been so long.
I know, but it'll be here. But it'll be here.
Yes, it will. Okay. Speaking of the Visa, Cash App, Racing Bulls, what chaos that whole thing has been.
I don't think it was an accident.
You don't?
I do not.
Okay. You think it was all just to like stir up drama?
Controversy.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird. They like deactivated their account. I mean, that's sort of strange.
I don't know.
Yeah. For those, I guess if you missed it, which I don't know how you could have, but I don't remember what day it was, but some day last week, the handles changed to Visa, Cash App, RB. And like, which apparently
awful.
Yeah. And people were like, what the hell? And then they deactivated their entire account, which made people think that like, oh, it
was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident, or did they jump the gun? I mean, here's the deal. For example, Red Bull is technically Oracle Red Bull Racing, right? Haas, MoneyGram Haas. Like a lot of these teams do have a title sponsor ahead of their team name. And we don't say Oracle Red Bull Racing, we just say Red Bull.
Yeah.
So I think if it is Visa, Cash App, Racing Bulls, we're just going to say Racing Bulls, but it doesn't flow off the tongue. It's also, there's a big difference between it being Visa Racing Bulls or Cash App Racing Bulls, which both are kind of like,
really?
I mean, Visa's better than Cash App.
Sure.
In my mind, in terms of like the way that it sounds. But to combine the two is where I'm having some difficulty.
Yeah, it's too bad.
I mean, I hope if it is what their name is, that means they're getting paid a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And that they're going to have the fastest car on the grid. And
they won't be allowed to have the fastest.
Yeah. And they're just going to kick ass.
That they'll do.
Curious what the colors will be.
I know. Because I'm nervous.
There's a mix there.
There is
of colors.
Now, does Visa own Cash App now?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either. So if anyone knows, let us know. But Cash App has a green color scheme, and Visa seems to be like a primarily navy situation, which with the Red Bulls family leaning into the navy is fine.
Like and like the Alpha Tauri, you know, that's very similar.
I have a fear that we're going to go silver focused, and I don't love that. Like my least favorite liveries are silver.
You don't like the chrome.
I don't like the chrome. Like I much prefer the Mercedes when it's all black.
Yeah,
it just looks better and cleaner. I don't know.
It does.
I'm willing to be proved wrong, but
also, especially for Yuki and Daniel, like they're both people that can wear a color.
Yeah.
To give them a color to wear.
And I guess I'm speaking specifically of the livery, but where Alpha Tauri was white and navy, I could see it being like primarily more like silvery, which
they're probably the one team that I'm most curious about, obviously, because we just don't know. Like everyone else, we know, okay, Ferrari's going to be red.
Yeah.
Red Bull's going to be navy. Aston Martin's going to be green. Like we know what these colors are going to be. I think Alpine's going to be like some pinkish
camo situation. I hope they keep the pink longer than like 2 races or whatever.
I'm curious to see how that goes. So I think with whatever they're going to be called, Racing Bulls, there's just so much unknown.
Which I don't like that. I mean, I know I'll get used to it and I'll pretend like, or not pretend, but it'll be as if like I never had an issue with it before. But
I mean, I'll wear whatever they want me to wear, and I will.
Yeah, I just like really. So Red Bull is one of the most creative marketing like teams of all time.
Yeah,
and Racing Bulls is where we got.
Right.
I don't know.
It's weird.
I'm not hating. I mean, I am hating, but like it'll be fine. I just think it's so interesting. Like I really loved Toro Rosso. I think that's a good name. I think it's fun that it's
I think part of the reason that they're changing that, or why they wouldn't consider going back to it, is because they're moving like their headquarters and like the factories to Milton Keynes.
Sure. And so I understand also not going back to it because it's not the same team. Like I understand not using the team name again, though it would be fun if they did. Yeah. But I just, of all of the options, it seems like an interesting call.
It is. But I'll be their number one fan.
Such is life.
So
yeah, well, the fan base is not concerned, and maybe that's it. They didn't have to do it. They know the fan base is going to be massive, so it's fine.
Yes, they can do whatever they want. Okay, another random thing that happened a few weeks ago that's not really F1 related, but it is motorsport adjacent, was the Mahindra AI drama.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Mahindra, which is an FE team, Formula E team. I don't know when this was now, maybe a few weeks ago. I can't really remember. Time is confusing. They announced that they were going to be having a female AI influencer who was going to be making content, and
she scared me
doing all this stuff.
I think she followed me.
She followed our fan behavior.
I was like, who is this spam account?
And of course, as to be expected, many people were upset with this decision because it's like, first of all, like hire an actual real life woman. Don't just make a fake woman to do your content.
Right.
And it was crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
It was, I appreciate like the innovation.
Absolutely.
But,
and it would have been a lot different if it was a dude.
100%.
But I think the bottom line is that there are a lot of really great creators in the motorsports space right now.
Yeah.
Especially females.
Yeah.
And the whole discussion has been that females have a harder time breaking into motorsport.
Right.
And so then you make a fake one.
Right.
And it just felt confusing. Like, these are always the moments that, again, I totally understand the innovation. I think the actual idea itself is interesting and cool.
Yes.
I'm not taking away from that, but it's just interesting that, like, when you see a commercial and you're just like, how did that make it through all the steps necessary to get it filmed and on television?
The Kendall Jenner Pepsi.
Sure. Or even just stupid ones. Like you're someone had to pitch this, and out of all of them, it was picked.
Yeah.
Then they had to storyboard it, have a budget to hire, actors, cameramen, blah, 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 blah. And then now it's on television. Why? That's sort of how I felt. I was like, how did this all get approved without these questions coming up? And maybe the questions did come up. What I would love is if the story is there was a girl at that table who was like, I think that this is going to cause some problems. And someone was like, and you know who I mean by someone, was like, no, it'll be fine. Yeah. And then she was like, told you so. I mean, I said this when it happened. I feel like if you're going to do this, have it be in conjunction with a female creator. Absolutely.
Like a kind of like a partnership type of thing where it's like they're
even someone like Tony, who's huge about all the AI stuff and the tech. Like you could have had her like have conversations with this person or like, which is also creepy.
It's weird, but like it could have worked. Yeah. It was very short-sighted. They ended up saying like, we're not going forward with this, which, again, it's like, come on.
Did her following get any?
I don't know.
That was the other thing. I'm like, so are you just trying to find, like, part of me was just like, are you trying to find another income stream rather than having to, because like, is AI Ava or whatever her name was going to become an influencer?
Well,
like,
yes. And I think that's brand the other deals? Thing. They don't have to pay for,
right. But if it
talent.
popped up, she could be paid.
Yes.
The whole thing was just, I mean, it's interesting. And in a lot of ways, it's brilliant. And in a lot of ways, it was a huge red flag.
Yeah. Mistake. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. And proud of all the people that, spoke up and said, like, what the fuck? This is weird.
Yeah.
Because, that's how we make change.
Amen.
Okay.
And it did.
It did make change. This is also more... recent. We saw the content today, but George and Carmen were in Austria hanging out with not only Toto and Susie, but also Sebastian Vettel.
That made my heart really happy,
which is so great. I don't want to say I forget about him. I don't forget about Seb, but like, I guess when I see him, I'm like reminded of, oh, I miss him.
Yeah,
totally. Because we only were fans for one season of having him around, and like. He was racing with Aston Martin and they weren't very good, and like it wasn't like the most exciting season to be a
but
Sebastian
I do remember
Vettel
crying at all the montages when he was like
and obviously the dinners and everything like that, and like so I wish he was more involved in Formula One.
I know,
like as an advisor or something. Do you remember when he was at Daniel's tire test?
Yes,
it's just great.
He was so happy,
and he was so happy to see him. Yeah, I just, again, I don't think they plan to be together. Well, George and Toto may have planned, but it is nice seeing everybody. And those two guys, George and Seb, they are like the, because I sort of envision Seb being like, not so much the ringleader of the drivers, but like, I feel like it was a passing of the baton of sorts of like, now you're in charge of the group text.
Yeah.
You're
the director now.
You're the director.
And I know that it's become probably very normal for Carmen, but like to just bump into Sebastian Vettel on ski trips and stuff and like not just see him and be like, oh my God, it's Sebastian Vettel, but like chat with him, take the photo, all these things. It's just like, that's so fun for her.
It's so fun. Yeah. Yeah, she's back in school. She left her finance job. I think she's getting like a master's or something.
Probably is easier on the travel schedule too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's like has a lot of, brand deals and that kind of stuff.
You know who she reminds me of?
Who? Morgan?
No. Oh. But in some ways, she's very Amal Clooney.
Totally.
She's so cool.
Totally. Yes.
She's such a queen.
Yes. I mean, like kind of Regal-esque.
Yes.
And
very put together, very supportive.
Just
does her own thing.
Does her thing, yeah. Like you are interested in her just as who she is. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Love it. And the last thing too, I feel like it's important to talk about, especially if you're a new F1 fan, because there's always so much that comes out in this period of time about, simulations, like cars in the simulator and they think they found this, or like it's going to be this, it's going to be so fast, or testing. I feel like people get really, this car was, or this team was the fastest in testing. It's like, you cannot fall for anything.
No.
Do not fall for anything.
It's like practice.
It's like practice. It's just until lights out and away we go, first race.
Yeah. It's just,
you don't know anything.
Yeah.
because
it's all null and void.
Teams will sandbag in testing and make it seem like they don't know, or they're like,
they're hustlers,
and then actually they're good and fine. It could be the other way around. I just want to put out that PSA.
They might forget some of their bolts and screws.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot about when the cars are revealed. Oh, this car has this car has that. What does that mean for this car? Oh, it looks just like this other car. Again, just take it all with a grain of salt.
Fun and chatter until that first lights out,
and then you really know. Then the rubber hits the road, so to speak.
Well, literally
and figuratively.
Yeah.
Okay, I asked for some questions, what people wanted us to discuss. Speaking of, someone said, "What actually happens during the car reveal?" I've never watched one. So
I don't actually think I've watched one either.
Basically what happens, I mean, they're sort of different depending on the team, but like the drivers will show up and they'll probably be in their racing suits. Maybe
it's like a press junket.
Reveal themselves, then not reveal themselves, they'll reveal their suits. And then usually there's like a big sheet over the car, and then they'll pull off the sheet and they'll reveal what the new car looks like. Sometimes though, it's not actually the car. Like it's a spec car that they've put the new livery on. But sometimes it is the actual car. It just depends. And then they'll talk about, oh, this is the new livery and blah, 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 blah. I know last year Ferrari, they actually put the car out on track. They actually, because they did the reveal in the factory, and then they went out and showed it on the track. Yeah. That's really what happens. I mean, really, it's just a place to get to like see what the new car looks like, see the drivers back in action together.
Yeah, I mean, it's a press opportunity.
Yeah, it's press, really. For sure. Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. I mean, I think it's fun to watch for the content, but like if you're missing it, you'll get all the highlights on social.
Yeah. I mean, there was past reveals like years ago when I think it was McLaren when the Spice Girls were there performed. I think they used to have higher production value.
Yeah. Well, less social media then,
Exactly. Someone said, "Is Drake to F1 what Taylor is to the NFL?"
No, it is not. Respectfully, no, it is not.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's really any person that you could compare. I don't think there's any.
It also doesn't really feel like a Drake to F1.
No. Yeah.
There's truly nothing like Taylor to the NFL.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless a driver starts to date like, who's another massive star celebrity? Is there one that's like as big as she is? Beyonce or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, someone like that doesn't make sense. Or like, honestly, like if one of them started, I don't know why I keep coming back to the Kardashians, but like if one of them started dating Kendall or something, like it would and that's a little bit different, I guess. Yeah. But I mean, Beyonce's married, so
I know that doesn't. But in terms of her star power, and like is getting people interested in Formula One.
Billie Eilish, maybe.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to happen. Olivia Rodrigo. Oh my god.
I don't know.
I don't want her to date any of them though, because then they'll write.
It could be great
and terrible.
Yeah,
it won't have the same. Won't be the same impact.
I mean, she does make great songs. I do love them.
I think it's important that Taylor found the NFL as a mature adult. I think that's important.
Yeah. She's not going to go like scorched earth on though she might. You never know. So there's been some, again, this is where things, you can't read into everything. There's been some reports out that Ferrari and Carlos are at a bit of a stalemate in terms of like contract negotiations and stuff. I did have a thought the other day. Would it shock you if Red Bull signed Carlos?
This year?
Like for their next, like for 2025?
Not really, I guess.
Because I was thinking about Red Bull's options in terms of who they could sign for in the coming years. And obviously I think their sights are Daniel, maybe Yuki, I don't know. But let's say those two they're not showing much, right? And there's no real options there. Alex Albon is a potential, but you've already gone through that experiment once. So it's like, does he want to do that? Do they want to do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Carlos has been in the Red Bull family. He's a solid, proven second driver. Would he want to go to Red Bull?
Does he want to still be a second driver though? I think that's the thing. Because I mean, the predictions, I said I think Carlos will sign somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to float that as a potential idea.
No, I think it's an interesting idea. I feel like the strategy of picking the right number 2, Daniel would make more sense.
Yes.
For everybody.
Yes. Yeah, he just has to like show that he's still good.
Yeah.
Which, anything's possible. Someone else said Logan's thirst traps. He's been posting. Have you seen Logan's thirst traps?
I think I'm good too on that. Have you? I mean, I'm sure you have. Are they?
They're just like, him in Florida, like, shirtless.
Okay.
Well,
sorry. I love Logan as a person. I think he's, I'm sure he's wonderful. He just doesn't really do it for me.
Hannah's not in her Logan era right now, like she is with other drivers.
I have a hard time anticipating that I'll ever be in one.
You felt the same way about Lando, and look.
Yeah,
how
but Lando's always been
changed.
attractive to me.
Yeah,
I just thought he was a little,
young.
He just got hotter because he got older.
Totally. All right, guys, that is the F1 news you needed to know for the week a hand. Hopefully we'll get some answers on the racing bulls this week.
Yeah,
one can only hope.
Yeah,
hopefully there's not any more mayhem.
There's just a lot. Yeah, I'm ready to just like
be in the holding pattern.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out, if Daniel Ricciardo will be happy if with the Bills.
Oh yeah, I was like,
you guys know. You guys will know. Think he'll be at the game?
I hope so. But isn't he still in Australia?
No, again, we don't know. He's not on social media anymore.
You're right. But can you? Okay, one box.
Yeah.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo. This would never happen. Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel and Haley, that definitely could happen. That did happen.
No, of course. But we're not crossing enemy lines.
Yes. No, we're not crossing enemy lines. But the idea of the two of them being in the same space with said players on the field is a fun thought.
Yeah, and Taylor.
Oh, and you know who else is going to be at the
going
game?
to see Haley to say hi and seeing Daniel Ricciardo? That will break the internet.
Yeah, and Jason and Kylie are going to.
I know. I'm excited.
So that will be fun.
I saw this one like tweet that it's just the most horrible way to write it. It was just like Jason Kelsey will not be alone. In the below freezing temperatures with wife Kylie escorting him. Taylor Swift will be there too. I'm like, what the hell is that? By the time I got to the end of the sentence, I still wasn't really sure if Kylie was going or not.
Yeah, apparently.
Speaking of Kylie, on just like a real quick, on the quick, because we haven't talked about this. Yeah. What is going on with Timmy and Kylie? Is that real? That was
it's them dating?
Yeah, it's just jarring.
It is.
I know this isn't the platform.
This is Pop Culture Corner.
Yeah,
it's fine. We can do this. If you don't care about F1 anymore,
see you later.
See you later.
Enchanté. But what the hell?
I know it was a little. Yeah, the Golden Globes. For those who didn't see it, they there was like a hidden camera essentially.
Yeah, that was a lot of tea.
Yeah,
but we don't really know anything about. But
it was a little like, I didn't love it.
It was weird.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway.
But happy for them. I suppose.
I want to know how they met. Yeah. I want to know if it's
everyone's kind of going. It's like with Kylie and Timmy, and like with Taylor and Travis. It's like people are sort of stepping.
We're crossing
we're trying something new.
Yeah, we're not sticking to the status quo anymore.
If Zac Efron taught us anything, it's to never stick to the status quo.
Yeah.
Zac Efron.
Oh my God, I had a dream about Zac Efron the other day. And
were you escorting him to a cotillion ball?
No, but I just remember seeing his face, and I woke up and thought it was real. That it wasn't like you could. He had like restructured it again to his old face. It's nice.
I know.
It just makes me sad.
I know, but he's doing well. He's doing.
I know he's doing so well. I'm so happy for him.
And again, if you haven't seen,
is he going to be an Oscar winner?
Not this year.
Oh.
He should be an Oscar nominee, and I wish I could have started that campaign a lot sooner. If I was in charge of that campaign, that film's campaign, I would have gotten him an Oscar nomination. But I unfortunately wasn't asked to be in part of that campaign.
Well, next year.
Next year. Okay, are we done for real now?
I think so.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube, on Spotify, write us a review on Apple if you are feeling nice and kind.
Yes, and don't forget, with all the humility in the world, we get paid on YouTube. So if you want to turn us on in the background.
A lot of people commented and were like, went immediately to YouTube after you said that.
I do it too, so I'm not asking you to do something that we don't do ourselves.
So much. We definitely appreciate it, and we're very grateful to you. See you next week, guys. Enchanté.